Hey everyone. So I think I'm going to do something a little bit different with this unboxing video today. I'll show you real quick what I'm going to unbox. It is the RX 6950 XT. So I'm really excited about this. It's the first time I've ever purchased a top tier graphics card. It's also the first time I've ever purchased like a Founders Edition, or not Founders Edition, reference card. So I'm really pumped about this. But before I get into the unboxing, I do want to go on a little bit of a rant. I think I'll just kind of, riff for a little bit. I do want to mention though, before I get into all of this, I do want to make sure that you're all aware, I guess through a little disclaimer, I'm not like a tech YouTuber. I don't get, free gear sent by companies. So I got to buy stuff to unbox, and it's the stuff that I use on a daily basis. I'm not just buying stuff to show you. I'm buying stuff to use for myself. But I like doing this kind of stuff. Sort of take inspiration from some of the cool tech YouTubers out there. So please don't hold me to any of those standards. I'm probably going to make some mistakes. Like I don't keep tabs on the industry the way that Tech Yes City or Hardware Unboxed keeps tabs on the industry. That's not me. This is entirely just a hobby. So I suppose you could call me like an average gamer. In any case, all of that said, thanks for watching. And I guess let's get into it. So I think I'm going to aim this talk at those of you who are console gamers who might be kind of interested in PC gaming. Maybe you want to build your own PC and you're not sure like what this whole PC gaming world is all about. So I'm going to draw some correlations, I suppose, and try to connect those world of PC gaming to the world of console gaming. Give you a little bit of an intro into some of the big players, right? Because if you're coming from the console gaming world, you're familiar with Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo, but you're not really aware of who the big players are in the PC gaming space. So I'm going to stick to graphics cards because that's what we're unboxing today. Know that there is a whole other conversation about CPUs and different players in that space, different companies that you want to look out for. So, do your research before you build a PC. But for today, we'll just talk about graphics cards. So in the graphics card world, there are three manufacturers of GPUs or graphics processing units. And those three companies are AMD, Nvidia, and Intel. The graphics cards themselves are built by other companies, but they use the chips that are designed by AMD, Nvidia, and Intel. The two big players are AMD and Nvidia, with Nvidia being the king by far. No one else holds a candle to their, I guess, hold on the market. They do have what essentially amounts to a stranglehold on the GPU market. Now, when it comes to performance, I would say it's probably neck and neck between Nvidia and AMD, with Nvidia kind of coming out on top because of their ray tracing performance, but that's a technology that's still kind of in its infancy. So let's talk about Nvidia a little bit. Nvidia, as the big player in the GPU market, the brand that you're probably going to see the most when you go and purchase a GPU. So when you go to like Micro Center or something, you're going to see posters for Nvidia GPUs. You're going to see stickers on the glass cases for Nvidia. You're going to see their logo everywhere. There's a reason that like 99% of Steam gamers are gaming on an Nvidia GPU. Along with that comes the fact that they are kind of enacting some pretty consumer unfriendly practices, particularly when it comes to pricing. So across the graphics card world, there are different tiers, levels of graphics cards that you would buy into. So Nvidia has their cards numbered. So at the bottom tier or entry level is their 50 card. And then the lower mid-tier card is the 60 card. The upper mid-tier is the 70. The top tier is the 80. And the overkill tier is the 90 card. Although the 90 card does have its place in other applications as well. We'll use the 10 or the 70 as an example. So back in, I want to say 2016 or 2017 or somewhere around there, Nvidia released their GTX 1070. The price at the time that it was released was $380. And then they followed that up a year or two later with the RTX 2070, which they announced at the price of $500. So a $120 increase from one generation to the next, the same tier. And I think a lot of people were sort of upset by that decision on the part of Nvidia to increase the price by that much. And then they pulled a fast one on us because when the RTX 3070 came out, they announced it at a price of $500 again. So we were like, oh, they're not increasing the price over last year. How nice of them in the middle of a pandemic to look after consumers, which they really did not do, because what happened? We had a massive GPU chip shortage during the pandemic. The graphics cards were unable to be found anywhere at MSRP. Scalpers got a hold of all of them practically. A card that you would ordinarily get for $500 was now selling for $1,500. Fast forward to about 2 weeks ago, and the RTX 4070 comes out. 2 weeks ago, as of the time I'm recording this. The RTX 4070 comes out, and they've increased the price again up to $600. This is a mid-tier card, and I think one of the reasons that people are upset about this decision on the part of Nvidia is the fact that the card only has 8 gigabytes of VRAM. And that's quickly becoming a conversation in the PC gaming world because of the fact that games are now starting to take advantage of more and more VRAM. What had happened back when the 3070 was released, which is the card that's currently in my my computer, the RTX 3070. When this card was released, Hardware Unboxed gave it kind of a mixed review. They were really impressed by its performance, but they were concerned by this. The card only comes with 8 gigabytes of VRAM. According to Hardware Unboxed, at the time that the 3070 came out, they were concerned that games were going to be using more than 8 gigs of VRAM soon. And a lot of us sort of just shrugged it off. It's like, no, we're never going to get it, or not never, but it's going to be a long time before we get to that point. Well, that long time was just a couple of years, because here we are in 2023, just 3 years after the release of the 3070, and we're running into issues. The Last of Us Part 1, that was recently ported from PlayStation to PC, is sort of the headline grabber for really poor performance on graphics cards that have 8 gigs of VRAM, and that seems to be the issue. Some people have been blaming the developers, and sure, there's probably some blame to go around there with respect to how, the shaders are built and everything in the game. However, there is probably something to be said for the fact that we're starting to move into a world where 8 gigs of VRAM on a high-end card is just not going to cut it any longer, because it's not just happening with The Last of Us. Other games, like that new Resident Evil 4 remake, Forspoken, A Plague's Tale Requiem, and that's just to name a few of the games, they're all seeing some pretty severe performance drops when paired with cards that only have 8 gigs of VRAM, especially if you want to set your graphics setting higher, or you want to game at resolutions higher than 1080p. We're seeing some issues. Since the PS5 has 16 gigs of VRAM, ports are going to be requiring more VRAM than what the 3070 and the 4070 can provide. Now, to be totally fair, the 16 gigs of VRAM in the PS5 are shared between the GPU and other components in the system, whereas when you're building a PC, the GPU has its own dedicated VRAM, and the system RAM is handled separately from the graphics card. Just wanting to point that out. But let's go ahead and talk about the 6950. The 6950 XT was released at an MSRP of $1,100, which was a little bit of a question mark, because when you kind of stack it up against the previous flagship from AMD, the Radeon RX 6900 XT. The $200 price increase seemed to not be justified. I believe that was $200. I think the RX 6900 XT came out at $900, and then the 6950 XT comes out at $1,100. So it was a little bit confusing because it wasn't that much of a performance uplift over the RX 6900 XT. However, when you look across the aisle to its counterpart over on the Nvidia side of things, the RTX 3080 Ti, the 6950 XT was trading blows and even surpassing the 3080 Ti in rasterization. As far as like why I decided I wanted to upgrade, well, games that I like to play, such as Cyberpunk, well, Cyberpunk is sort of a different conversation, but games like The Last of Us Part 1, Resident Evil 4, which I want to play, they're not really going to perform well at the graphics settings that I want to play them at. So my card, again, the RTX 3070, just doesn't have the VRAM to be able to power those games at max quality settings at 1440p or higher. And so I wanted to start looking at cards that had more VRAM. And initially I was just going to look at Nvidia because yes, there's a part of me that wants to avoid buying into the company that practically has a monopoly, but I wasn't really aware of what AMD had to offer. I hadn't used an AMD card since the 7750 back in 2012. So the AMD world was foreign to me. But I saw that the RX 6950 XT had dropped significantly to $650 at most retail sites, including at Micro Center, which is right around the corner from me. That made the whole prospect really tempting, not to mention the fact that its closest competitor on the Nvidia side wasn't dropping in price, it was increasing. So the 3080 Ti, which had released at around $1,150, I think, had jumped up to $1,300 in some cases. And I actually saw one model of the card going for $1,600, which means that card is completely out of reach for me. And it only has 12 gigs of VRAM as compared to the RX 6950 XT's 16 gigs of VRAM. So that kind of felt like a no-brainer. I was looking to see if I could get it even for just a little bit better, just to see what deals were out there. So I decided to hop onto eBay, and I stumbled across a listing for a brand new RX 6950 XT for $500. I was a little suspicious because I felt like maybe that's too good to be true, but I checked the seller and everything looked good. The seller was located in Brooklyn, not too far from me, so I knew shipping would be really quick. The seller had like 100% feedback rating, positive feedback rating, had like 170 reviews of stuff sold in the last year. So I felt pretty confident about this purchase. There were a couple of things that, gave me pause when the box arrived. There was another thing that made me feel a little bit suspicious, but overall, I was pretty confident in purchasing from this seller. He only had 2 left, and I was lucky enough to have been able to get it. Immediately after I got it, he had sold out, of course. That's my my story with the RX 6950 XT. So I'm not really sure how to, wrap this part of the video up. So let's just go ahead and dive into the unboxing, shall we?
This is something. The overlay, the thickness of the cardboard, the magnetic enclosure, opening the box from the top like that. Like that's part of the reason why I wanted to do this unboxing video. Because it's not like here's my most recent card, right? Like this is, you open it like this, like your standard. I mean, you know what's going on here, right? Like this is premium. This is nice. I suppose a card that was $1,100 at launch better have a really nice packaging experience. But anyway, yeah, so you open up the top flap and it says, "Welcome to the Red Team." Why, thank you. You've joined a select community with an uncompromising passion for premium gaming. That shared desire is at the heart of everything we do. It's why we've engineered the fastest AMD Radeon RX graphics cards ever to deliver a powerful gaming experience. Have fun. Hashtag AMD Red Team. Ah, so nice. I feel like I've been invited into an elite club. I only spent $500 to get there, or at time of launch $1,100. Anyway, no, but that's nice. I mean, this is a nice experience, right? Opening it from the top, boom, love it. Okay, and here we've got this card here. Oh, it's a little thick. Oh, it's got some foam backing there. We'll take a look at that stuff in a bit. But here's some, just the little blurby about what's going on inside the card. 16 gigs of VRAM with AMD Infinity Cache, AMD RDNA 2, DirectX 12 Ultimate, Windows 11 ready. Yeah, this is RDNA 2. As of the time I'm filming this, that's the RDNA 2 is the previous generation architecture. RDNA 3 is out, but there are only a couple of RX 7000 series cards that are currently available. I think it's just the 7900 XT and the 7900 XTX at the time of recording, I believe. Anyway, so look at that. We got little, blurby blurb. Check out this website to check out the user manual. General safety guidelines, safety precautions, multiple languages, all of that fun stuff. So, and, oh, look at that. There's a keycap in here. It's an R keycap. Yeah, I think I'll go ahead and replace my R key with this guy. That's pretty cool. I love the extra little goodies that come with the premium card. So let's go ahead and take a look at. Oh, I guess this is the card itself. Interesting. So it's got this like little band here, AMD Radeon. Oh, is this what I think it is? Interesting. Let's see if I can get this out cleanly. Oop. All right. Any way to take this off without ripping the band? I don't want to rip the band. Maybe I could just slide it like this. Yeah, that slides pretty easily. Come on. Oh, I think it is. I believe it is. Let me close this so it's something to set it on. Yeah, we have an AMD. Oh, there's some foam here. An AMD. There's the card itself. We'll look at that in a sec. It's a desk mat. How nice. Oh, Ryzen Radeon logos there. That's cool. Little desk mat. It's a small if I want to use it for both keyboard and mouse. I guess it's just a keyboard desk mat for the size of my setup, but whatever. All right. Here is the card itself. It's a heavy card, especially since it's relatively compact. It's not a massive card. I feel like my RTX 3070, the Gigabyte WindForce edition, is larger, but I don't know. Okay, so I hope this is RGB and not just a plain red LED. I believe it is. The fans are really nice. This is a really nice, sleek-looking card. I am a big fan. It's a little compact given the heft. So I'm a little concerned about thermals, but not too much. Yeah, so there you go. Triple fan setup. It's all this matte black metal, which is really nice. 2 standard 8-pin connectors. We'll get the back plate here. Got the Radeon logo there. USB-C, 2 display port, and 1 HDMI. I don't love that, but it's not terrible. It's not the end of the world. I love the back plate. That's a really cool design. And yeah, that's about it. It's a graphics card. Like, what do you expect? But it is a really, really nice design. I'm a fan. of that. So I'm going to go ahead and, I guess, run DDU, uninstall the Nvidia drivers, and get to installing this bad boy. Well, so there you have it. This is the AMD Radeon RX 6950, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'll run DDU and yeah, plug this guy in, get things started, and enjoy some games that I otherwise wouldn't be able to enjoy on a card like the 3070, which it's a bit disappointing that that's the world we're in now, but that's the world we're in now, and I'm hopeful that that means some good stuff for Radeon, and I hope that also means some changes in Nvidia's pricing scheme. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in another video. Peace.